All right, welcome to In the Workroom with Manny. This is John Speridos, my friend. John, let's get right into it. I have always been impressed because you do what I always want to do, which is you're at every event. Your sponsorship, you sponsor a lot of the events, and I love the fact because I think you are doing what is true, which is you got to spend money to make money, and you're a presence at every event. And I want to have you on. Just well, number one, you're a fellow Greek, and that's important to me. Not that anyone else cares, but
sure,
hey,
right,
you know what?
yeah.
Us Greeks got to stick together. But I want to know about you and your business, and I wanted you to tell us a little bit about the history of your shop and how long you've been doing this for and stuff like that.
But yeah, I mean, you mentioned kind of touching back to like the events and the presence there and sponsorships and everything. One of the first organizations I joined was NARI, which is now called Pro New England. Huh. And that was a remodelers organization. And it was down in Natick. I live in the North Shore. And I joined this organization. I said, let me go meet, some builders. Maybe we can get a few projects for the winter where we kind of slow down. Initially, we were a, exterior repaint, residential repaint company. And then, when I joined that organization, met a few builders, got a few small projects here and there, and then that kind of grew. I met some other folks there, John Moss, John Nicholas. So John Nicholas from Oasis, John Moss from Installations Plus, great friends till this day. They started joining other organizations, and we kind of all followed along. And now, it just kind of. Now there's more. I got to, do a couple other publications now.
Of course. No.
But yeah, it's I kind of just said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna just go to every event. It's going to be exhausting. I still can't get to every single one, especially during the fall and holiday seasons. There's a ton, and it's a lot, but it's fun. They're not like boring, kind of conference room things, right? Like we're going to nice showrooms, we're going to nice cocktail parties.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
It's fun people.
That's
it's
right.
great people. You and I meet at these events.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So
all the time.
It's not bad. I tell my wife I got to go to work. But it's kind of fun.
Hey, how do you manage, by the way, with your wife? Right. So like, I know you have kids as well. Sometimes my wife will say to me, "Hey, you're going again. Can I come to these things?" So I brought her to the. I brought my sister to the IFDA awards, but I brought my wife to the.
I think she was at the gala, right?
At the
IFDA,
gala.
yeah.
Not the IFDA. It was wasn't it? No, it was it was the IFDA.
Yeah.
It was the
gala.
IFDA. I'm sorry. My sister came to something else.
Okay.
Oh, she came to the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah.
But I always try and think about to bring my wife there, but it's hard, right? Because with the kids and everything, mom and dad always try and help out.
Yeah.
But
well, with the same situation, like my parents, my in-laws. We have one daughter. She's 12. Pretty soon she'll be able to kind of stay home. But it's a little easier now, where she's a little older. Yeah. She doesn't want us bothering her when we're home anyways. So it's a little easier to kind of get out and do things now as opposed to when she was younger. But yeah, we do have help from my parents and my in-laws. My wife is more of a homebody. Like, she does not like networking. She's a CPA. She's a principal at a CPA firm, great firm.
Oh, that's great.
And I try to get her out to network because I'm like, you have some architect clients, you have some designer clients.
Of
Come
course.
out and network, and she's just kind of like, But when she comes out, she has a blast, and she loves everyone that we meet. So it's.
I remember the first time I came across your company. It was at the Luxury Design Summit, the one where we had the hurricane that night.
Down the Cape. That was awesome. Yeah.
And I was so impressed by you because you had done a sponsorship where you had your signs all the way up and down that room, right? And I was like, Cosmos Painting. I'm like, I had a feeling you were a fellow Greek, but I was like, this guy's legit, I was impressed by that.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been impressed by your, again, you get out there, you make the name known. I try and do it. This fall.
Oh, you're doing it. Yeah, trust me.
How'd you get into this business?
So my dad started the company. My dad, Peter, he came from Greece when he was like, 17-ish.
Yeah.
His parents had a house here. Like they all kind of moved here,
Yeah.
and you know, some of the siblings started moving little by little. My dad started the company, again, just kind of little by little in like pockets of Swampscott and Marblehead.
Yeah.
We grew up in Lynn,
Yeah.
so those towns were pretty easy to get to. You know, good clientele there, and he just built a great business. You know, in that pocket, and you know, it was, like I said, exterior residential repaint. So it was pretty seasonal. You know,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot going on during the winter.
Yeah.
And I kind of dabbled in it as a teenager, a little bit during my college years.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't
Yeah.
really take it seriously at that point.
Yeah.
I studied marketing and graphic design.
Oh,
and,
interesting.
So I always enjoyed that aspect of business. And so I had a job doing some graphic design work and audio editing, but that kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
I said, let me go see what's happening in the paint world. And you know, I got started back in it, you know, seriously, like going in with the mindset of running the business,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
along
yeah,
with
yeah.
my dad.
Yeah.
And that was in 2008, which is probably not the best time because the economy tanked, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it was good for me because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how great it was before, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in the business, so I just came in and just kind of put my head down and started making cold calls. You know, built a website, like just hit every online directory I possibly could, and you know, kind of built a little name for us in that North Shore pocket.
I love it. I love it. The pocket now must not be North Shore. I mean,
No, yeah, we rarely do stuff in the North Shore now. It's
Yeah.
mostly builders and interior designers
Yeah.
in and around the city. So, yeah.
So your clients though. So when it's more builders and contractors, right?
Yeah.
Because my clients are mostly interior designers and architectural firms, and
Right.
but yours is mostly
Mostly
builder.
home builders, custom home builders, right? Yeah. And some interior designers, you know,
Yeah.
they might, some of the interior designers, as you know, do some of their own project management. Sometimes there's a builder that does all of that, right? And so depending on the project and depending on the designer, sometimes they might just hire all the subs. And other times they're just a designer and then the builder hires all the subs, right?
Got it. One thing I was impressed with, and I was telling you before we started, I came across one of your crew at a project in Brookline,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they had no idea who I was. I was just there measuring for draperies. But what I liked about them was, number one, they were working hard. Number two, they were working with a smile.
Yeah. That's
And
good to hear.
number three, like I was kind of in their way because I had to work around them to get some measurements. They held me over the ladder. They were friendly. They were kind, and
That's awesome.
you could see, you could feel that there was a good. You can always tell with whatever business you work with what's going on. You know what I mean? Is the place happy? Are the workers happy?
Yeah.
Is he a good boss? You know, and I could tell right away. I almost left there. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't want him to get nervous that I knew you or anything. You know, but they were good people. They were happy. They were working hard. You know, and
that's awesome, man.
I was happy to see that for you. You know?
Yeah, thank you.
No,
No, we try to keep a good culture, a calm culture.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I always tell my guys, there's no paint emergency. You know, like, I mean, yes, there could be, you know, but it's not life or death. Like, we can fix it, you know, so it's just, you know, if something goes wrong, you know, I remember years ago, you know, like before we kind of built this culture that we have now, you know, some of the guys would call and I would kind of panic and freak out, and I was very, you know, just kind of regimented and just, you know, and then I've started to loosen up, and you know, and it kind of formed that culture, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, and then I'd have some of my guys calling like, oh my God, this happened or that happened. I'm like, okay, is that something we can fix?
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's fix it. You know, let's take some time and fix it, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. And I was talking on with the other podcast. You know, in our line of work, right? I don't know how often you get to the job sites, but I do a lot of the measuring for our company, along with a guy named Jeff, and we're typically in there when it's under construction. You know, dust. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Plywood, you know, sawing, cutting, everything. Every now and then I get to see when my guys finish, they take a lot of finished photos. Sometimes I get to go and I get to see it live. And that's when you get to really appreciate the work that it's not even work. It's artwork. It's craftsmanship. But a good paint job goes a real long way. And I always admire a good spray job.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because the spray job, it looks like the wood grew that paint on organically.
exactly.
You know, versus a brush job. And I
I
know
like that. That's a good way to put it. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I mean, we had a job recently where we had to hang a faux Roman shade inside a window, but it was in Back Bay. The window was like 10 inches deep.
Yep.
And these painters beautifully sprayed the whole, everything.
Yeah.
And the designer first wanted the faux Roman in the front of the window, but then we decided we wanted in the back of the window. Well, the problem was we put 2 screw holes
Yep.
in the front of the window. And I'm thinking to myself,
That might have been one of our jobs, but I'm sure that happens often.
but I'm thinking to myself, how do you repair a spray painted job like that? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
And those are the kind of things that
Yeah,
make
there's techniques where
Yeah.
we might either, one option would be we just respray those 1 or 2 windows, right?
Right, right.
Which I mean we have smaller sprayers where we can do that and just mask off a little bit.
right.
It's not crazy to do.
Yeah.
Other times, we might find another technique where we'll use like a fine roller, where we
Yeah,
can kind
yeah,
of match
yeah,
that,
yeah.
if it's not feasible to spray again, But
Yeah.
but yeah, most times we'll just try to spray it again.
Yeah.
But also they need it done fast, right? So we'll figure it out. Yeah, it all depends on timing and
Sure.
what's around. Yep.
John, how do you guys manage your calendar? We have one person here who does an amazing job at it. Her name is Catherine. She does something that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
I don't know how she figures out. We have six crews, vans that are going out in different directions. To manage that timing, how long this will take, how long that will take.
Yeah.
To me, I think is also artwork.
Right.
How do you guys do it? How do you get around that? How do you schedule it?
Well, we have 2 meetings on scheduling every week
Yeah.
between myself, my field manager Mario, and office manager Lucian, who are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you guys, though, I think are doing a lot more volume, right? Like
Yes.
what's your average? How many hours or days would your average install be?
Well, that's
right?
a great point. So we're typically in a house one day.
Yeah.
So
I would not be able to handle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't do a lot of service work like that,
That's right.
or like quick installations, right?
Right.
If we're on a project, we're kind of parked there,
For a long
sometimes
time.
a month, sometimes 6 months,
Wow. Wow.
I know I shouldn't say we're parked there. Like we'll go in,
Yeah.
we'll spend a few weeks, maybe a month or so, doing a lot of prep work and priming or whatever, and then we kind of hit a stopping point where we've got to wait for some more carpentry to finish, or maybe this section of the house isn't done yet. We did deal with a lot of scheduling issues though when we were working a lot more on the exterior repaint end.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot faster. We're there for maybe a week, right? And then moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
But we also had weather to deal with, right? So that became very challenging.
Yeah.
But now where we're doing a lot more, just, the majority of our work is with builders, interior, and they're large projects, so we're there for quite a while. So it's a little easier to handle scheduling. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, every time I go to that project in Brookline, they're always at some different part of the house.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Well, because we have to move around.
That's right.
Wait for some carpentry
Yeah.
or plaster work or
Yeah, to finish.
some lighting fixture is going to move 2
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. How many crews do you got going now?
So we're at about 20-ish employees.
Wow.
So it's about, crews. We've got 4 crew leaders. Sometimes we kind of split them up though.
Yeah.
So we've got our field manager. He manages all the crew leaders. Sometimes crew leaders might be kind of put together on a project depending on the size of it, and sometimes one crew leader might have a couple of projects going on.
Yep.
But we still do some of the quick 1 or 2 day things where we need to get out there. Somebody calls like, hey, I need this done. Some touch-ups or this water damage on the ceiling. So we'll do our best to get out there as quick as possible.
Yeah. No, that's it's the same challenges we have. Our timeline is tighter. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
in a house like that one in Brookline, we'll be there probably a day, a full day,
Yeah.
and probably 2 to 3 guys. But it should go fairly quickly.
Right, yeah.
That's the tricky part.
Yeah, the majority of your work happens here.
Yes,
right? In the workroom. And
That's
then
right.
They
That's right.
install I don't want to say it's the easy part, but
No,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot more involved before you even get to that point. You know,
Well,
it's like, yeah.
you know what, John? In a lot of what I do, maybe different than yours, but you have your client watching you too, because typical the builder or the project manager is there watching, right?
Right. Yeah.
For us, I had one design firm who put it best. For us, it's showtime.
Right.
Like when we show up for the installation, it's showtime.
Yeah,
You know, it's
right.
months and months of production,
Yep.
and it's showtime. It's going to go up because they picked that fabric, 6 months ago,
Right, yeah,
a year ago,
Right.
and it's going up, and we're going to
Yeah.
see how it's going to look.
Right.
But in many ways that's
Hopefully.
but that's your thing too. I bet it's happened. I bet every project there's a room that gets painted where they say, "Oh, geez, that's a lot more."
Yeah.
That's a lot more.
We've had that happen quite
Yeah,
a few times. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because
Yeah.
you've done the room, and now all of a sudden you're going to do the room again.
Right. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, it just kind of backs up. At least at that point, though, like you said, that there's been a lot of work done to that room prior. So
Yeah,
a color change is pretty quick.
Quick.
Right? So we don't have to get into all the prep work and sanding
Yes,
and filling
yes,
holes
yes,
and
yes.
making sure it's already as best as we can get it.
Right.
And if you
right.
want to change the color,
Just change
it's pretty
the color.
quick. On the walls, if you're doing the trim over and millwork and whatever, that's a different story. But
The prep
yeah.
work is everything in what you guys do, right?
Yes,
It's
right,
everything.
yeah.
Prep work is
course,
everything.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That probably takes twice as long, 3 times as long as painting,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I work with a business coach, and we're looking at some financials, and we're looking at materials costs.
Yeah.
And our materials cost compared to like they've got a lot of other painting clients, and benchmarking material costs, ours is like significantly low, and they're like, well, why is that? Is there something wrong? Is there something we're missing? I'm like, no, it's been like this for a few years now, and it's accurate. It's just that we're we're looking at a lot more labor than material, right? So once that material goes on, I don't want to say it's the easy part again, but it's kind of like all that work's been kind of done. So you get it on, and you kind of know it's good to go.
It's
right?
good to go. Yeah. John, a little bit on the personal side. You told me at the IFTA Awards night that you're a musician.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, because when you told me, I was like, man, this guy's amazing. You told me specifically an instrument you play and that you're in a band, right?
I'm not in a band per se, but so I play Middle Eastern percussion. I play a few things, but the main thing is called the doumbek or darbuka or tabla, they call it in Egypt.
Yeah.
So you'll hear it a lot in belly dance music, right? It's like the quick rolls, kind of drumming. It's a sound that I've loved, since I was a kid, and my parents had old Greek records that I would put on and just listen to, and usually it's like one of the first sounds on the beginning of the song. And I'm like, oh, it sounds so cool. And then I started DJing around like 13 years old. I got into, I grew up with MTV Raps, got into hip hop, and some house music, and my buddy and I had a little studio. We recorded some local artists.
I love it.
And so we got into that. But around 16 or 17, I picked up a doumbek, just a cheap one from Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started playing along with that, and with some old Greek music and stuff. And then I kind of upgraded the drum and got better and better, and took a few lessons with some local guys here and there.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where do you go learn how to play?
I was kind of self-taught.
Yeah.
I did end up taking lessons to learn some specific techniques. And actually, there's a guy, Leon, who I met through another friend who played bouzouki, another Greek instrument.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, you should talk to Leon. I'm like, all right, cool. And Leon ended up being the drummer on some of the records that I used to listen to when I was a kid. So there's a Armenian band that played in Cambridge. Yeah. And Leon was the drummer on those records. And then I ended up meeting him and taking lessons from him in my 20s, like early 20s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but now just kind of play with, there's a good friend of mine who's a drummer in a Greek band, and he brings me along, and it's just fun to jam, It's not like I'm not looking at it as like a gig or like an obligation.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be out every Saturday night.
No,
So it's nice to do kind of every now and then and just kind of scratch that itch. Where.
But it's fun. It's fun to do that. It gets your mind off things.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I was
definitely.
musically gifted. Some people are more musically gifted than others, but you got to put the time into. I mean, I bet you spent hours and hours learning that instrument.
Yeah. My wife was really annoyed with me because like every time I drive around, I'm always tapping my fingers on the steering wheel, and everywhere I am, I'm just kind of tapping. And she's like, "Can you stop?"
So speaking of that, I noticed. So Greeks have a funny thing. So you wear your wedding band on your right hand.
Yeah.
That's the Greek way to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I remember when I got married, I put it on my right hand, and my wife was like, "No one's gonna know you're married," and everybody will start hitting on you.
Well, you just turn around and show the other
yeah,
hand.
that's right.
It's
Show
not
the other hand. But I wear it on my left now. I actually, this is my grandfather's wedding band.
Wow.
Yeah, my hands got fat, and my along with the rest of my body. So I had to literally I couldn't get my wedding band off. And I had my grandfather's wedding band. He was. I'm sure you have amazing Greek, stories of your family as well. But he was my dad's dad, and he was an amazing guy. So he had hands like shovels. So I got his wedding band. So I started wearing it. It feels good. It feels good to have the kind of history. But what part of Greece was your family from?
South, so Peloponnesus.
Yeah.
My dad is from a beautiful town called Monimvasia, and my mom is from like just outside of Kalamata.
Oh wow! I've never been to that part. Yeah. I've never been.
Yeah.
My wife's family's from Crete.
Okay.
And I love it there.
Yeah.
I love it there. But my family's from the mountainous area of Greece.
Which part? My wife's family is up in...
Karpanisi.
I think we talked about that.
We talked about this.
Yeah, my wife's family's from up there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We go up there, so when we go in the summers, we'll go to the mountains and we get the coast, right? So it's nice. We kind of get all aspects of it. It's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, you take that Delta flight straight there?
Yep.
Yeah. That flight is...
Yeah, it's great.
It's huge. It's a game changer because you get in, go to sleep, you wake up, and you're in Athens.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
I don't care for it on the way home.
I know.
Like it's fine. We can no rush to get back.
After the fourth movie, you're like cross-eyed, and I know. Flying is it is what it is. But then you get to Greece, and you're like, okay,
I know, right?
Everything's good.
Yeah, it's easy. Yep.
John, I guess to close out the podcast, we're having one of my mom's melamacana. It's a honey-filled cookie with some nuts on it. I said, hey, you know what? Let's save it for we'll close out the podcast with a little cookie. I love cookies.
Yeah.
All right, John, thanks for coming out.